Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back on the Total War Warhammer video. Today's topic are all the missing units, lords, heroes and legendary characters for the Warriors of Chaos. So without further ado, let's begin. Firstly, we'll look towards the Chaos Augers. Augers are naturally resistant to the warping influences of Chaos, but not completely immune, where some of them have found themselves being mutated in some way, shape or form, but the main reason we see Augers throughout the ranks of the Chaos Warriors is because they make valuable mercenaries. Augers are large, brutish warriors, and their strength is always welcome. That being said, it is important to note that they're still Augers at the end of the day, and thus, well, quite unreliable. It could be that Chaos Augers could be implemented with a high upkeep cost to represent their mercenary nature. Next, we look towards the Chaos War Shrine, both as units and as mounts for lords and heroes. These are mighty battle altars to the Dark Gods. They are carried into battle by twisted spawns, and their battlefield role is more generalized around buffing your units. Generally, there are 5 different types of War Shrine, each quite visually distinct, one for Chaos Undivided, one for Khorne, one for Tzeentch, one for Slaanesh, and one for Nurgle. Realistically speaking, it's more than likely we'll just get the Undivided variant instead of all 5, or else we'll have 5 exact models just reskinned visually for the same faction, which would be a little bit boring. Next, we'll look towards the Chimera, and to be honest, there's not really too much to say here, considering the fact that in the tabletop it was the monster variant of the Manticore. And by that I mean that in the tabletop, the Manticore itself was a mount, and the Chimera itself was the monster that couldn't be ridden. So it's my guess that the Manticore itself, if ever implemented, would act exactly the same way as a feral Manticore. It's a shame really, because the model itself is quite fantastic looking. I mean, look at it, it's on screen right now. Honestly, I'm still holding out hope that we'll see it in Total War Warhammer eventually. Moving on, we have the Hellstriders of Slaanesh. These are Chaos Marauders who ride upon swift demonic steeds, those of Slaaneshi demons. The Hellstriders themselves are faster than your average horse, so they would be very swift cavalry on par with that of Elven cavalry. Just a quick side note here, these units, among others, are likely why we're not seeing an update to the Warriors of Chaos until Total War Warhammer 3, mainly because a lot of these units do have some demonic influence towards them. Moving on, we have the Putrid Blight Kings. These are an end times unit. Chaos warriors heavily infused by the power of Nurgle. These immensely powerful warriors are experts in melee combat and carry with them a large variety of equipment, so no Putrid Blight King is essentially the same. Blight Kings themselves are extremely tough, being warriors of Nurgle after all, and very killy in close combat. Next we have the Skull Reapers. Imagine the Chaos Chosen, but now extremely maddened by the blessings of the Blood God. Skull Reapers are berserkers in their own right. Decently tough, decently armoured, but it's in close combat where they excel, and they can rip apart enemies with relative ease. Following up from this would be the Wrathmongers. Berserker type units, same as the Skull Reapers, but imagine them fighting with paired flails. It makes them absolute devastating units in the battlefield, especially when fighting against weaker units, or purposely surrounding themselves by hordes of enemies. These are one of the top tier blender units and should be used as such. Next we have the Mutalith Vortex Beast. This is what Chaos Spawn should be if Chaos Spawn were actually good. The Vortex Beasts are an unholy fusion of monster and magic. These creatures are so volatile that any that get too close to it will begin to mutate. Honestly, the way I see it implemented into the Total War Warhammer series is that the Mutalith Vortex Beast would have an aura of constant damage effects to any nearby enemies. Moving on, we have the Skull Crushers of Khorne, Chaos Warriors mounted upon demonic juggernauts. These are your monstrous cavalry, extremely heavily armoured and very potent in the battlefield. The one and only purpose of the Skull Crushers of Khorne is to charge in directly into the enemy lines and just rip them apart. A very common theme within the ranks of the Chaos Warriors, but what else can you expect from them? And lastly, in terms of units, we have the Slaughter Brute. So the Slaughter Brute itself is a mindless monster that knows nothing but rage. It is normally enslaved by powerful magics, but its role on the battlefield would be akin to letting your rabid dog loose on the battlefield. As you can see in regards to the monsters in the Warriors of Chaos roster, it's pretty much just let them loose and do their damage, but hey, why mess with a system that seems to work? Before we move on to the missing characters section, I want to talk about the god-specific mounts. So each Chaos God has a specific mount that can be used by lords, sorceresses, and so on. Essentially, they were mostly demonic steeds, barring the Tzeentchian disc and the Slaaneshi steed itself, which was more snake-like. So if it's ever the case that we do receive god-specific lords and sorcerers, it would be good if we also had these mount options because it just fits with them thematically. But now let's move towards the missing heroes and lords, with there only being one missing generic lord choice, that of the Demon Prince. So the Demon Prince itself is a Chaos Sorcerer or Chaos Lord who has ascended to demonhood. When the Sorcerer or the Lord ascends into demonhood, they normally keep a bunch of their old traits, so they still fight in a similar way as they would. And honestly, I'm not too sure if I'd like to see them as a Lord choice for the Warriors of Chaos, but rather for the Demons of Chaos, but still also having them represented in a different way in the Warriors of Chaos roster, where you would level up your characters all the way up to level 40, I believe that's the maximum at the moment, and you could choose to try and ascend them into demonhood, maybe in a similar way of doing a special mission every time. We shouldn't really have loads of demon princes everywhere, so it might be quite interesting to actually give you incentive to spawn them. This could be anything really, maybe just a generic test where you'd fight demons of chaos to see if the gods favor you as a chosen champion. And should you fail, it could be rather punishing, where even if you've picked the immortal trait, your character would be permanently dead. Something along the lines of, is the risk worth the reward type of thing. I don't know, maybe this could be interesting. But with that, now we'll look towards the named characters. Now just bear in mind 1 second, just like the vampire counts, I won't be covering every single named character that is missing from the Chaos Warriors, mainly because just like the vampire counts, there's simply too many, and it's more than likely we won't see everyone implemented into the game. That being said, if you guys want me to do a video specifically detailing all missing characters for the Warriors of Chaos, which bear in mind might be about 2 hours long, I'll be willing to check it out. First, we have Festus the Leech Lord, a former respected doctor within the lands of the Empire, who unfortunately fell into madness when a plague swept over the land. His madness threw him to the loving embrace of Papa Nurgle, and where once he used to make potions to heal the sick, now his concoctions only serve the father of plague himself. Festus himself is not the best combat lord, but he is a decent spellcaster in the lore of Nurgle, and given the fact that he is empowered by the plague god himself, he is decently tough and should be able to be in the front line without being wiped off the map very quickly. Next up we have Roche, the first Chaos Dragon. Now, I don't know how this could even be implemented as a legendary lord choice considering that it is a dragon, but it is possessed by a Lord of Change. It's a high-level spellcaster in the lore of Tzeentch, and decently powerful and durable in melee combat considering that, well, it is a dragon after all. Honestly, I don't know how they could go around making a dragon a legendary lord. It could be possible that we'd see it as a unique unit with a bunch of bound spells, but even then, it still seems highly unlikely, though it is a popular model, especially back in the day, and many people have been asking for it. Next, we have got Rotspume, the leader of the Putrid Blight Kings. We won't have to spend too much time talking about this character considering that everything that we've talked about in the Putrid Blight Kings would also come in here. He is a very powerful melee lord and should be treated as such. Honestly, if the Blight Kings do arrive, it just makes sense to have their leader with them. The same could be said about Scar Bloodwrath, considering that the Skull Reapers and the Wrathmongers are his unit. He's a very interesting character in lore, considering the fact that this character has died many times and the Blood God Khorne revives him over and over. This is not because of his failures, instead the Blood God would have punished him in more severe ways, but rather because Bloodwrath himself seems to provide a lot of entertainment for the Blood God. Next we have the Glutkin, 3 brothers forming one single unit, each of them blessed by Nurgle in a different amount of ways. One was given hulking mass, the other was blessed with commanding leadership, and the final one was blessed with the arts of magic. Separately, each of the brothers are a force on their own, but together is when they are the most destructive. The Glutkin are the ultimate combination of magic, melee prowess, and pure monstrous unit. This is a personal favourite in terms of end times units because it just looks amazing. I mean, look at the model, it's just awesome. Next we have Valkyria the Bloody, the Gore Queen, and one of the very few known demon princesses. It is said that the demon prince of Slaanesh came to her, offering her unlimited power should she worship the Lord of Pleasure, but in her disgust she slew the beast, with herself dying too. However, it would seem that the blood god Khorne was watching over her and was impressed by her actions, thus reforming her into a mighty demon princess. Valkyria has spilled countless seas of blood in the name of the blood god and is the most favoured champion of the blood god himself. This is one of those heroes that should always be able to fly, and right now we don't really have that barring those that are mounted, however it makes sense for her. And lastly we have Village the Curseling. These are conjoined twins. One is more powerful in strength and the other is more powerful in magic, but both together form the perfect team. Originally it was thought that the smaller twin itself was the one commanding the brutish one, however it would be revealed during the end times that the brutish brother is rather sentient and just simply followed along just because of the sake of it. It's a cool looking model and I'm rather interested to see how this could be possibly animated, however it could be that we might not even see him and they'll go with a different character like Engrin van Horseman or someone else. Now, like I stated before, I only wanted to cover a small number of them because at the end of the day we'd be here for a 2-hour video just on the characters alone. But if you guys want me to cover all the characters, just let me know in the comments below and I'm being more than willing to do so, though don't expect it anytime soon because it would require a lot of research going back to a lot of earlier editions. However, what do you guys think about these picks? Would there be any others instead? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and let's start a bit of a discussion, shall we? But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like or even subscribing to the channel as it really does help us out. In the description section below we have various different social media links such as Facebook, Instagram and Discord where you can get in contact with the Great Book team, talk to us about Total War, Warhammer or just anything really. Also in the description section below is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could get loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Purchasing using this link and also using our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons, your support means the world to us. Honestly, it's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A special thank you to our patrons Gibraltar LUSC and Ryan Bertsche for subscribing to us at our Fane level. Honestly, you guys are super cool. And a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing and commenting on these videos. Honestly, the channel's been growing a lot lately and it's all thanks to you guys. Without you, the Great Book would be nothing. We're trying to implement more videos into the channel soon, but we're getting stuff done outside of YouTube at the moment, just like artwork and so on for the channel. It's just taking a little while to get everything to look to a standard that we feel is cool. Honestly guys, thank you so much for all the support lately, it's been amazing. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.